Oracle of the End. There exists a whisper in the tapestry of ancient myths, faint, fragmented, but consistent across continents and centuries. It speaks not of heroes or gods, not of battles or creation myths, but of a final message, uttered only once, by a figure so enigmatic it barely has a name, the Oracle of the End. Unlike the oracles of Delphi, whose riddles shaped wars and empires, this entity never concerned itself with human affairs. It is said to speak only once in the lifetime of a universe, and what it says is not guidance, not hope, but revelation. A single utterance meant to mark the closing act of reality itself. Some depictions show the oracle as a blind figure wrapped in midnight cloth, seated at the threshold between time and nothingness. Others claim it is not a person at all, but a pattern, a moment of perfect symmetry in the fabric of space-time, where the universe briefly becomes self-aware. There are tales from ancient India of a thousand-tongued serpent that speaks in paradoxes when the world reaches its final cycle. Egyptian alchemists wrote of a black mirror in which the last future could be seen, if only for a breath. Tibetan monks once whispered about a silent child with a third eye that opens only when all others close. The prophecy? It's always abstract, like a cosmic riddle only the universe itself can understand. A phrase that echoes across myths: when the final thought is thought, and the final star forgets to shine, the gate will close. But what is this gate? Is it metaphor? Is it literal? Theories abound. Some say it's the border between dimensions, a door to higher consciousness that slams shut when entropy reaches maximum. Others believe it symbolizes the collapse of duality, when light and dark, matter and void, self and other, all lose meaning. A philosophical annihilation more terrifying than any apocalypse. Modern thinkers have toyed with these ideas. Some propose the oracle's prophecy as a metaphor for the heat death of the universe, a state where all energy is evenly distributed, and nothing new can happen. No stars, no movement, no life. A universe not destroyed in flame, but quietly muted into stillness. A cosmic fade to black. And what if this myth is a form of memory? A genetic echo passed down from civilizations that once glimpsed the end, long before time rewound or looped again. If time is cyclical, as some cosmologies suggest, perhaps the oracle returns, again and again, at the edge of each closing cycle. Speaking its final truth before silence swallows all. Some fringe scientists theorize that the oracle isn't fiction but phenomenon, that deep in the structure of quantum information, there lies a kind of cosmic checksum. A final message encoded into the laws of physics themselves. Not something we can read, but something we're slowly drifting toward, like a ship toward the edge of a waterfall. The closer we get, the more of the message we sense, in dark matter, in quantum entanglement, in déjà vu and dreams we can't remember. The oracle is not here to save us. It does not warn. It does not plead. It simply speaks, once, and then fades. And those who hear it? They don't understand the words. They feel them. As a loss. A silence inside the mind that grows and grows, until all thought becomes echo. What do we do with that kind of knowledge? Perhaps nothing. Perhaps it was never meant for us at all. Return of Nibiru. Throughout the ancient world, there have been whispers, ancient echoes that transcend time. Civilizations long gone, yet their stories linger, etched into stone and clay, passed down through generations. Among these stories, one stands out, the tale of Nibiru, a mysterious planet that exists far beyond the confines of our solar system. It is known in modern terms as Planet X, but to the ancient Sumerians, it was a harbinger of destiny, a symbol of divine intervention. In the early records of the Sumerian people, inscribed upon clay tablets and stone walls, there was a recurring mention of Nibiru. It was not just a distant star, it was a physical entity, a planet, with an orbit that stretched far beyond the planets we know. An orbit so vast that it would only bring Nibiru into proximity with Earth once every 3,600 years. This celestial body, so distant that it would be invisible to the naked eye, would return to Earth with its passage, bringing with it chaos, change, and perhaps even the end of an era. Nibiru's connection to the ancient gods, the Anunnaki, is central to its mythos. The Sumerians believed that these gods, who were described as being of incredible intelligence and power, had arrived from Nibiru. They weren't gods in the traditional sense, but rather beings from an advanced civilization who, with their superior technology, had guided humanity in its early stages. The Anunnaki were said to have manipulated the genetics of early humans, creating a new species with a purpose, but their long absence left humanity wondering about their return. The concept of Nibiru as a cosmic visitor tied to divine power and influence left a lasting imprint on human culture, with various ancient civilizations referencing it in one way or another. But what exactly is Nibiru, and what is its return supposed to signify? The modern understanding of Nibiru has evolved from myth to a subject of conspiracy and scientific speculation. Over the years, various scholars, researchers, and even some prominent figures have predicted the return of Nibiru, most notably, Zecharia Sitchin, whose interpretations of ancient Sumerian texts suggest that Nibiru will return and cause a global cataclysm, a catastrophic event that could reshape the fate of humanity. These theories often link Nibiru's arrival to apocalyptic predictions. Some believe it will cause natural disasters, massive earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and shifts in the Earth's magnetic poles. Others speculate that its gravitational influence will disrupt the delicate balance of our solar system, sending comets or asteroids on a collision course with Earth. But beyond these physical events, there is another, subtler aspect to the return of Nibiru, the spiritual or metaphysical implications. There are those who believe that Nibiru's return could lead to a great awakening, a shift in human consciousness. The coming of Nibiru, according to some, will be a catalyst for humanity's spiritual evolution. This could mean an influx of ancient knowledge, a transformation of the human mind, or even a merging of different dimensions. Perhaps, they argue, Nibiru is not just a planet but a gateway, a conduit between worlds, between the physical and the metaphysical. As it draws nearer, the veil between dimensions might begin to thin, allowing human consciousness to access higher realms of existence. There are also claims that Nibiru is not just an external force but something far more intimate. Some say that Nibiru represents a hidden aspect of our reality, a forgotten memory embedded in the human psyche. In this interpretation, the return of Nibiru is less about a physical cataclysm and more about a psychological or spiritual reckoning. Nibiru may not be a planet at all, but rather a symbol of a larger cosmic truth, the return of the divine, or the awakening of an ancient consciousness that has long been dormant within us. However, despite the fervent speculations and apocalyptic predictions, science has not found any evidence of Nibiru's existence. Astronomers have searched the skies for decades, using powerful telescopes to scan the dark depths of space, yet no trace of the planet has been found. NASA and other scientific institutions have dismissed the idea of Nibiru as nothing more than a myth, a conspiracy theory fueled by misinterpretations of ancient texts and modern fearmongering. Still, the mystery of Nibiru refuses to fade. Could it be that Nibiru is more than just a story? Could it be that ancient civilizations were aware of a cosmic event that we have long since forgotten? Is it possible that Nibiru's return will come when humanity is least prepared for it? And if it does, what will its presence truly mean for us? Will it bring chaos, as some predict? Or will it usher in a new era of understanding, one where the mysteries of the universe are finally unlocked? Perhaps Nibiru is not an event at all, but a reminder. A reminder that we are connected to the cosmos in ways we cannot fully comprehend, that the forces of the universe are not merely outside of us, but also within. The return of Nibiru may not signify the end of the world but the beginning of a new chapter, a moment of reckoning in which humanity is forced to confront its true place in the grand design of the cosmos. As the stars align and the sky shifts, Nibiru might not come as an apocalypse, but as an invitation. The question is, are we ready to answer it? 13th Baktun Prophecy. The 13th Baktun Prophecy is deeply rooted in the ancient Mayan calendar, specifically within the long count calendar, which tracks time through cycles called Baktuns. Each Baktun lasts around 394 years, and the completion of the 13th Baktun, which occurred on December 21, 2012, has been the subject of much speculation and mystical interpretation. This specific date was seen by some as the end of the world, a cataclysmic event that would mark the end of humanity or a massive transformation. However, this interpretation is largely a misunderstanding of the Mayan calendar and its true meaning. The Mayans viewed time as cyclical rather than linear. They believed that time was a series of repeating cycles, and each Baktun represented a new phase of creation and destruction. The completion of the 13th Baktun was a significant moment, but not the end of the world. Instead, it was seen as a transition, a shift from one era to another. The end of the 13th Baktun, in the Mayan worldview, symbolized the closing of one chapter in the cosmic cycle and the opening of another, much like the changing of seasons or the phases of the moon. While the 2012 date caused widespread panic among some, fueled by doomsday prophecies, the Mayans did not predict the destruction of the earth. They believed that time is a continuous loop of creation and transformation, with each cycle ushering in a new age. The end of the 13th Baktun was, therefore, a time of spiritual renewal, a cosmic reset where humanity could evolve and gain deeper insights into the nature of existence. Many modern interpretations of the 13th Baktun prophecy focus not on physical destruction but on a spiritual awakening. The end of the 13th Baktun could be seen as a moment of profound transformation, where humans might become more attuned to the cosmos, nature, and their inner selves. This could lead to a greater sense of interconnectedness and a more enlightened way of life, as the Mayans believed that the movement of celestial bodies could influence human consciousness. Despite the lack of any major apocalyptic events in 2012, the 13th Baktun prophecy remains a powerful symbol of the potential for human growth and transformation. It reminds us that change is inevitable, and that cycles of destruction and renewal are essential to the fabric of life. The prophecy may not have predicted a dramatic event, but it points to the possibility of spiritual evolution, an awakening to the deeper truths of existence. The end of the 13th Baktun may not have been the dramatic ending many expected, but it symbolized a new beginning. It served as a reminder to embrace the cyclical nature of time and to remain open to personal and collective transformation. This shift doesn't necessarily happen in an instant, it's a gradual process, where humanity can align itself with higher understanding and spiritual awakening. Ultimately, the 13th Baktun prophecy challenges us to consider our place in the universe and the potential for rebirth in the grand cycle of existence. As we move further from 2012, the prophecy can be viewed as a call to embrace change, seek spiritual awakening, and connect with the deeper forces of the cosmos. It is not about fearing an end but recognizing that every ending brings the possibility of a new beginning, one filled with infinite possibilities. Fallen Watchers Rise. The Fallen Watchers Rise is a powerful and enigmatic theme that draws from ancient myths, religious texts, and occult traditions. It is rooted in the story of the Watchers, celestial beings mentioned in the Book of Enoch, an ancient Jewish religious work that is not included in most versions of the Bible but still holds significant influence in esoteric and apocalyptic circles. These beings, often depicted as angels or divine watchers, were tasked with overseeing the earth and guiding humanity. However, they became infamous for descending to earth and intermingling with humans, resulting in their fall from grace. According to the Book of Enoch, the Watchers were originally high-ranking, powerful celestial beings. However, their downfall began when they grew enamored with the daughters of men. In an act of defiance against the divine order, the Watchers took human wives and fathered a race of giants known as the Nephilim. This transgression, an act of forbidden knowledge and cross-species reproduction, was seen as a breach of the divine laws. In the eyes of the celestial authorities, the Watchers' actions were not only morally wrong but also threatened the cosmic order. The Fallen Watchers, as they came to be known, were subsequently punished for their rebellion. The Book of Enoch describes how they were bound in chains and cast into the abyss, a deep, dark prison beneath the earth, where they would remain until the day of judgment. This act was a significant moment in the mythological narrative, marking the corruption of the divine order and the introduction of forbidden knowledge into the human realm. However, the prophecy of the fallen Watcher's rise suggests that these celestial beings, once banished, could eventually return. The idea of their return is often tied to apocalyptic events, where their rise signals the end of one age and the beginning of another. In some interpretations, the Watcher's return is seen as a harbinger of chaos and destruction, a time when the boundaries between the celestial and earthly realms become blurred. Their return is often associated with the revival of ancient wisdom, dark knowledge, and the reawakening of forces that had long been sealed away. In modern esoteric and occult circles, the fallen Watcher's rise is a theme that resonates deeply with those interested in hidden knowledge, forbidden secrets, and the esoteric mysteries of the universe. It represents a symbolic awakening of ancient, suppressed forces that could bring about profound transformation. The Watchers are often depicted as powerful, enigmatic beings, whose rise could signify a time of awakening or an era of intense change. From a metaphysical perspective, the concept of the fallen Watcher's rise could represent the return of lost or hidden knowledge, the resurgence of forgotten spiritual truths, or the emergence of darker forces that were once repressed. This could be a period of spiritual reckoning, where humanity faces the consequences of long-forgotten actions and confronts the consequences of its own hubris. In this interpretation, the rise of the Watchers symbolizes the inevitable clash between the known and the unknown, the seen and the unseen, the light and the dark. In a more apocalyptic context, the fallen Watcher's rise could be seen as a precursor to a cosmic upheaval, where the return of these celestial beings signals a great conflict between divine and mortal realms. This could be a time of reckoning for humanity, where the Watchers, possessing knowledge of both light and dark forces, return to either punish or guide humanity toward a new era. The Watchers, in this view, are not mere angels or gods, but powerful, ambiguous entities whose motives and intentions remain shrouded in mystery. The theme of the fallen Watcher's rise has captured the imagination of many throughout history, serving as a metaphor for forbidden knowledge, spiritual awakening, and the blurring of boundaries between the divine and the human. It raises questions about the nature of divine authority, the consequences of defying cosmic law, and the potential for human evolution or destruction. The Watchers, as fallen beings, are neither entirely good nor evil. They embody the duality of the cosmos itself, representing the complexity of creation, destruction, and transformation. In the modern world, the fallen Watcher's rise continues to intrigue and inspire people across a wide range of disciplines, from religious studies to conspiracy theories to science fiction. The notion that ancient celestial beings might return to Earth in the midst of great upheaval taps into deep human fears and hopes about the unknown, about the forces that shape our existence, and about the ultimate fate of humanity. As a metaphor, the rise of the fallen Watchers can also be interpreted as the return of repressed knowledge and the awakening of powers that were once hidden from humanity. It is a symbol of the deep, often dangerous knowledge that exists at the fringes of human understanding, waiting to be discovered or unleashed. Whether viewed as a prophecy of doom or a signal of cosmic transformation, the fallen Watcher's rise invites us to confront the unknown forces that lie beyond our comprehension and to ask what happens when we unlock doors that should perhaps remain closed. Sybil's final vision. In ancient history, oracles were revered as the conduits of divine messages, offering glimpses into the future. One of the most intriguing and mysterious of these seers was the Sybil. Known for her cryptic prophecies, the Sybil's predictions often captured the imagination of many, and her final vision has remained a topic of intense speculation. Who was the Sybil? The Sybil was a name given to various prophetic women in the ancient world. They were believed to be gifted with the ability to foresee the future, often in a trance-like state, and were consulted by kings, leaders, and common folk alike. The Sybil's words were often considered to be messages from the gods, holding the power to shape the fate of nations. The most famous of these oracles was the Sybil of Cumae, located in ancient Italy. According to legend, she lived in a cave, where she would receive divine messages and then deliver them in enigmatic verses. These prophecies were sometimes delivered through frenzied speech, making them even more mysterious and open to interpretation. Over time, her prophecies were compiled into books, the most famous of which was the Sibylline books, which were consulted by Roman authorities for guidance during times of crisis. The final vision, a glimpse into the end. The Sibyl's final vision is often described as a foretelling of the ultimate fate of the world, a vision so profound that it left an indelible mark on both the ancient world and modern interpretations of prophecy. According to some accounts, this vision was not just a prediction of destruction, but a message of hope and renewal hidden within a cycle of endings and beginnings. Her last prophecy was said to focus on the end of the current age, a time of great upheaval and transformation. This vision spoke of a period where the boundaries between the physical world and the spiritual realm would blur, and humanity would face its greatest test. The final vision of the Sybil was often interpreted as a call to awareness, urging people to prepare for an inevitable shift in consciousness. Some interpretations suggest that the Sybil foresaw a time when knowledge would be both a blessing and a burden. As technology and understanding of the universe expanded, humanity would be forced to confront its place in the cosmos and the responsibility that came with newfound power. This idea echoes many modern concerns about the direction of human civilization and the consequences of our actions. The symbolism of the final vision. The imagery surrounding the Sibyl's final vision is often rich in symbolism, which has led to various interpretations over the centuries. Some believe the Sybil foresaw a world drowning in chaos, a symbol of the collapse of societal structures and the breakdown of order. Others see her vision as a metaphor for personal transformation, where the individual must undergo a profound change in order to reach enlightenment. The concept of the last oracle evokes the idea of finality, the end of one era and the beginning of another. It symbolizes the closing of a chapter, but also hints at the potential for a new beginning. In this sense, the Sibyl's final vision can be seen as a call to embrace change, to welcome the unknown, and to prepare for what lies ahead, even if it appears frightening. The end or the beginning, whether the Sibyl's final vision is one of doom or hope depends on how one chooses to interpret her words. Some view the prophecy as a warning of impending disaster, while others see it as a reflection of the cyclical nature of existence, the idea that every end is followed by a new beginning. This duality is at the heart of many ancient prophecies, where destruction is often intertwined with the promise of renewal. In a sense, the Sibyl's last prophecy is a timeless reminder. Endings, no matter how final they may seem, are often the catalyst for new growth. The challenge lies not in avoiding the end, but in how one faces it, whether with fear or with the wisdom to recognize the opportunity for transformation. Conclusion: a prophecy for the ages. The Sibyl's final vision remains one of the most compelling and enigmatic prophecies of the ancient world. Its message continues to resonate with us today, reminding us that the future is not set in stone but is instead shaped by our actions and choices. As we stand at the crossroads of history, the Sibyl's words offer us both a warning and an invitation, to reflect on our place in the world and to prepare for the inevitable changes that await us. Her prophecy, like all great oracles, is not a definitive prediction of the future but rather an invitation to think deeply about the forces that shape our destiny. The Sibyl's final vision may have been lost to time, but its message endures, waiting for us to unlock its true meaning. Cycle of solar death. For billions of years, the sun has been the silent guardian of Earth, rising and setting without fail, breathing life into every tree, every drop of water, every heartbeat. Its warmth feels eternal. Its presence, unshakable. But behind this illusion of permanence lies a cosmic truth. Even the sun must die. The death of a star is not always an explosion. Sometimes, it's a slow, graceful exit. A long sigh stretched across time. The cycle of solar death is not sudden, and it doesn't scream. It unfolds over unimaginable timescales, guided by the quiet laws of the universe. Right now, the sun is stable. It's in the main sequence phase, steadily fusing hydrogen into helium deep within its core. This process releases the energy we experience as light and heat. It's a balanced system, gravity pulling inward, fusion pushing outward. But this balance is temporary. Slowly, the hydrogen is consumed. The sun is burning its own life away. In roughly 5 billion years, this balance will tip. The hydrogen at the core will run low. Fusion will falter. The core, no longer able to push back, will collapse under its own weight. In response, the sun's outer layers will expand, swallowing nearby space. The once brilliant sphere will transform into a swollen, bloated red giant, hundreds of times larger than its current size. During this phase, Mercury and Venus will be destroyed. Earth might escape being engulfed, but it won't survive the change. The sun's radiation will be so intense that Earth's oceans will boil away, its atmosphere will be stripped, and its surface, once home to life, will become a scorched desert, or worse, a molten wasteland. But even this red giant has a limit. Eventually, the core will attempt to fuse helium into heavier elements like carbon and oxygen. Yet, for a star like the Sun, this phase is brief. When the fuel is spent, and no further fusion is possible, the outer layers will no longer be held together. They'll drift off, forming a glowing, multicolored shell of gas, a planetary nebula. What's left behind is the Sun's core, collapsed into an object no larger than Earth but far more massive, a white dwarf. It no longer produces energy. It doesn't burn. It simply glows from residual heat. Over time, trillions of years, it too will cool, fade, and darken. Eventually, it will become a black dwarf, cold, invisible, silent. A cosmic ember that has gone completely dark. The solar system will not escape this transformation. As the sun loses mass, its gravitational grip weakens. The planets, once locked in perfect orbits, will drift. Some may spiral away, flung into interstellar space. Others might collide or be consumed by the dark core of what once was their star. Moons will lose their paths. Asteroids will scatter. Order will give way to quiet chaos, and yet, despite the darkness of this vision, there is no tragedy here. The sun's death is not a failure, it is a necessary part of the cycle. The gas it releases into space will enrich the galaxy with elements. Carbon, oxygen, iron, ingredients for new worlds, new stars, and perhaps, new life. Everything we are, everything we see, was forged in stars that lived and died long before our sun. We carry their remnants in our bodies. In the calcium of our bones. In the iron of our blood. In the breath we take. Even the end of our star will become the beginning of something else. This is the quiet miracle of the cycle of solar death. Not a catastrophe, but a transformation. A closing of one chapter so that others may begin. So tonight, when you look up and see the sun's reflection cast in moonlight, or feel its warmth in the day, remember, this light is borrowed time. It has a story. And that story is moving slowly toward its final page, but even as the sun fades, the universe does not end. It continues. It waits. It renews, and in that waiting, in that silence, the next stars are already preparing to rise. Blue star Kachina sign, the final messenger of a dying world. Among the sacred stories of the Hopi people, keepers of ancient wisdom and watchers of the earth, there exists a prophecy. A final sign before the world is renewed. It is called the blue star Kachina. For generations, this vision was passed down not in books, but in whispers. Around fires, in chants, in the quiet eyes of elders who remembered what others had forgotten. It speaks not of destruction for the sake of fear, but of transformation, of the great turning. When the current world gives way to the next, the Hopi believe we are living in the fourth world, a time shaped by imbalance, disconnection, and forgetting. Before this, 3 worlds came and went, each destroyed when humans strayed too far from their sacred path. Fire. Ice. Flood. The lessons were not learned. And so, the cycle continued, but now, the prophecy says, we approach the end once more. And when that end draws near, a sign will appear in the sky. A star, not red, not white, but blue. It will shine with an unnatural glow, brighter than anything before it. It will be the blue star Kachina. The final harbinger. According to the prophecy, the blue star is not just a celestial body, it is a spirit dancer, a messenger who removes his mask in the sacred plaza. When he dances without his mask, the performance ends. And so too does the world. This moment, the unmasking, represents truth revealed. Illusion stripped away. A final unveiling before the collapse of what we call reality. When the blue star is seen by all, the world will enter chaos. The sacred ceremonies will cease. The rhythms of earth will stumble. Technology will fail. Great cities will fall. The Hopi people will walk through the sky in trails of smoke, and stars will fall to earth. Some interpret these visions as satellites, rockets, and falling debris from a dying civilization, yet not all is darkness. The blue star, while it signals the end, also clears the way for the beginning. After the world is purified, whether by fire, wind, or silence, a fifth world will rise. A new earth. A return to balance, guided by those who remembered the old ways. The prophecy is layered, poetic, and filled with symbols. But its core message is simple: humanity has drifted. Disconnected from nature, from spirit, from each other. The blue star is not just a warning. It is a mirror. It forces us to look up and ask, what world have we built? What story are we living? Some link the prophecy to astronomical events, supernovas, comets, even rogue planets. Others see it as metaphor, a psychic shift rather than a physical one. A global awakening disguised as collapse. In the end, it doesn't matter whether the blue star is real in the sky or only in the soul. The warning remains: when truth is revealed, the false must fall away. What is not rooted will be uprooted. What cannot bend will break. But in the clearing, something new can grow, the Hopi elder said. When the blue star Kachina makes its appearance in the heavens, the fifth world will emerge. And those who are ready, who are listening, not just with ears but with hearts, will be the ones to step forward into that new dawn. So if one night, the stars seem different, if a strange blue light appears in the darkness, quiet and patient, remember, not all signs are meant to scare. Some arrive to awaken. To prepare. To remind us that even endings are only beginnings in disguise. Frashokereti and Renewal. In the vast library of ancient prophecy, where tales of floods, firestorms, and divine wrath echo through time, there exists a vision unlike any other. It does not shout. It does not burn. It quietly glows. This is the Zoroastrian prophecy of Frashokereti, a concept not of destruction, but of healing. A vision not of endings, but of ultimate return. Frashokereti, a word born of ancient Avestan, means making excellent again, or restoration. But this is no ordinary restoration, it is the final act of cosmic drama, the closing of a circle that began with the birth of the universe itself. Where most eschatologies promise a final judgment, a reckoning, or a cataclysm, Zoroastrianism promises completion. A world not just saved, but perfected. The foundation of this belief lies in the eternal battle between Asha, truth, order, and Druj, falsehood, chaos. This is not a myth of random fate, it's a system. Every thought, word, and action tilts the balance. Each soul, through daily choices, helps weave the future of the world. In this worldview, humans aren't passive recipients of divine will. They are participants. Co-creators of destiny, but the struggle doesn't last forever. According to prophecy, a savior will rise at the end of time, the Seoshiant, the one who brings benefit. He will not come with war, but with wisdom. Not with a sword, but with fire that purifies rather than destroys. He will raise the dead in perfect, immortal bodies, shining with divine essence. Lies will vanish, evil will be undone, and even the souls thought to be lost forever will be drawn back to light. This isn't mercy. It's justice through transformation. The world, too, will change. All metals will melt and become one, symbolizing unity among nations. All languages will blend into one universal tongue. No borders. No tribes. Just a world healed from separation. Conflict will disappear, because its roots, ignorance, fear, pride, will be burned away. One of the most striking parts of this vision is the river of molten metal. In the final days, all souls must cross it. To the wicked, it will seem like burning lava. But to the just, it will feel like warm milk. This trial is not to condemn, it is to cleanse. To strip away what does not belong, and return the soul to its truest form. Even those who were lost to darkness are not discarded. They are refined, renewed, and welcomed back into harmony. Frashokereti does not fear the end. It looks forward to it, not as a fall, but as an ascent. A spiral upward toward perfection. A return to the original purity with which the world was created. In this prophecy, time is not a line with a terminal point. It is a circle. And at its final arc, everything returns to the center. Whole, there is no hell. No eternal punishment. Only a final reckoning where everything broken is made right again. This vision is radical in its hope. It imagines a future where no soul is left behind. Where even evil is not destroyed, but healed. The Zoroastrian end of the world is not a warning. It's a promise that every act of goodness matters. That nothing is wasted. That no one is beyond redemption. It's a quiet, powerful idea. The universe is heading not toward collapse, but toward correction. And we are invited to help bring that day closer, not through fear, but through truth. Through love. Through courage. So when the stars begin to fade, and the old world slips into twilight, it won't be a night of terror. It will be a dawn, and on the other side of that dawn, is a world not broken, but mended. A world not ending, but beginning again, this time, forever. Ragnarök Firestorm Prophecy. When the gods fall and the world burns in the frozen halls of Norse myth, carved in runes and whispered in sagas, there lies a prophecy of fire and ash. A vision of the end so raw and poetic it echoes through centuries. It is called Ragnarök, the twilight of the gods, but Ragnarök is not just a myth of death. It's a prophecy of cleansing. Of necessary collapse. A cosmic firestorm that brings the world full circle, burning away what has become corrupted, so that something new may grow. The story begins in a world already trembling. According to the Norse seers, signs will appear. The bonds of the cosmos will weaken. Morality will fade. Brothers will turn on brothers. Nature will rebel. The wolf's skull will finally catch the sun, swallowing its light. His brother Hati will devour the moon. Darkness will fall upon the world. The stars will vanish from the sky. Then comes the great winter, Fimbulvatra. 3 seasons of snow with no summer in between. Humanity will starve, fight, fracture. It is a world stripped of order. And yet, it is only the beginning. As chaos spreads, the ancient bindings will break. Loki, the trickster, long imprisoned, will rise again. From the depths of the sea, the serpent Jormungandr will stir, coiling its body around the earth. And from the realm of the dead, Naglfar, a ship made of the nails of the dead, will set sail. At its helm, Loki himself, returning to face the gods one last time. On the opposing side, the gods of Asgard prepare for battle. Odin rides out to meet his fate. Thor tightens his grip on Mjolnir. Freyr, Heimdall, Tyr, all stand at the brink. But even they know, they will not win, because Ragnarök is not a battle to be won. It is a destiny to be fulfilled. When the clash begins, fire consumes the sky. The wolf Fenrir, a force of chaos incarnate, breaks free and devours Odin. Thor slays the world serpent, but takes 9 steps before falling himself, poisoned. Heimdall and Loki strike each other down. One by one, the gods fall, not in fear, but with honor. In full knowledge that their end is the world's rebirth, the flames of Surtr, the fire giant, rise next. With his burning sword, he sets the world aflame. Mountains crack. Oceans boil. Everything collapses into fire, smoke, and silence, and then, something strange happens. From the ash, a new world emerges. Green, untouched, pure. The sun returns, now reborn as the daughter of the one devoured. 2 human survivors, Lif and Lifthraiser, step forward from the forest where they hid, naked, alive, and ready to begin again. Some gods return. Baldr, the Radiant One, walks once more. The golden halls are rebuilt. Peace settles over the land. This is the deeper meaning of Ragnarök. Not destruction for its own sake, but destruction as transformation. Fire not only burns, it purifies. What dies here is not the world itself, but the illusion of permanence, the arrogance of power, the corruption of cycles left unchecked. That in Norse belief, time is not linear, it is circular. What ends is destined to begin again. And what returns will come back wiser. Ragnarök is terrifying, yes, but it is also hopeful. It is the breaking of everything false, so that truth can rise from the ruins. And that truth is simple: everything that lives must one day fall, and everything that falls makes way for something new. So when you hear thunder in the distance, or feel the cold of winter settle in, remember, the firestorm may come, but it is not the end. It is the cleansing breath before the next dawn. Emerald Tablet secrets. Hidden in the folds of myth and mystery lies an object said to contain the secret of all existence, the Emerald Tablet. A small slab of green stone, ancient and glowing in the minds of those who seek hidden knowledge. But it's more than an object. It's a symbol. A puzzle. A whisper from an age we can no longer touch. Its origins are impossible to trace. Some legends say it was created by Hermes Trismegistus, the mythical blend of the Greek god Hermes and the Egyptian god Thoth. A divine figure, half human, half god, embodying wisdom, language, and the hidden architecture of reality. Others claim the tablet predates humanity itself, encoded by ancient beings or forces beyond understanding, and yet, what survives is a short inscription. Just a handful of lines, poetic, cryptic, endlessly interpreted, as above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. These words have echoed through time. They shaped the minds of alchemists who believed that matter and spirit mirrored each other. They inspired mystics who saw the same geometry in the stars and in the human heart. And they continue to ripple through our consciousness today, suggesting that everything, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, follows the same hidden pattern. To the ancient seekers, the tablet wasn't about turning metal into gold. Not really. That was the surface story. The true goal of alchemy was transformation of the self. Purifying the soul. Unlocking the divine potential within. The gold they sought was inner light, not wealth. The tablet speaks of a one thing, the primal source of all creation. It says this one is born of the one mind of the universe. That it was carried in the womb of the wind, nursed by the earth, fathered by the sun, and mothered by the moon. These aren't just poetic metaphors. They're symbolic keys, describing how energy, consciousness, and form are all interconnected. Another line reads, "Its power is complete if it is turned into earth." Some interpret this as a call to bring spirit into matter. To live in the world fully, while staying connected to something higher. It suggests that enlightenment isn't about escaping the world, but embracing it, transforming it from within. but one of the most mysterious instructions is this: separate the subtle from the gross, gently and with great ingenuity. It's a process of discernment, of peeling away illusions, of seeing what's essential. Whether in the world or within yourself, the task is the same: to understand what truly matters, and let the rest fall away. Throughout time, this tablet has been treated like a riddle. Some say it points to lost technology. Others believe it encodes the blueprint of the universe, or even the path to immortality. The Rosicrucians, the alchemists, the Hermeticists, all studied its words, trying to unlock its core, and yet, it resists being solved. Maybe that's the point. Maybe the tablet is not just something to understand, but something to experience, to reflect on, to carry in the heart like a flame. Its wisdom seems to speak in circles, in paradoxes, in echoes. Like the universe itself, what if the tablet wasn't meant to be found in stone, but in life, in the quiet breath between thoughts? And the way your emotions ripple through your body. And the symmetry of a snowflake. And the structure of galaxies. And dreams you can't explain. And a sense of connection you can't describe. Maybe that's where the tablet really lives, not in a museum, not in a vault, but in the architecture of existence itself. And if that's true, then you are already holding it. Every moment, every heartbeat, every question you ask is part of the tablet writing itself again, and as the final line promises, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So now the question becomes, can you read it? Kalachakra time will. At the heart of Tibetan Buddhism lies the Kalachakra, one of the most profound and intricate symbols of cosmic wisdom. The word Kalachakra translates to wheel of time, and within this symbol, time is not a simple, linear force. Instead, it is a cyclical flow, constantly repeating itself in an eternal rhythm that mirrors the vast and intricate workings of the universe. The Kalachakra reveals a vision of existence that transcends the conventional understanding of time, offering an alternative view of life, death, and rebirth. The Kalachakra wheel consists of three primary elements, each one representing a different level of existence. The external Kalachakra reflects the external universe. It encompasses the celestial cycles of the stars, the planets, the movements of the sun and moon, and the natural rhythms that govern the observable universe. This part of the wheel demonstrates how the cosmos itself operates in repeating cycles, day and night, the seasons, and even the life cycles of stars and galaxies. This external aspect is a reminder that time is vast and impersonal, yet it shapes everything in existence, from the smallest atom to the largest celestial bodies. The internal Kalachakra represents the individual human experience. Just as the universe follows cycles, so too does the human body and mind. The internal cycles mirror the larger cycles of nature, from birth to death, growth, and decay. Yet, this aspect also speaks to the flow of energy within the body, the rhythms of consciousness, emotions, and the subtle spiritual movements within us. The internal Kalachakra reminds us that we are not separate from the universe. We are intrinsically connected to the cosmic cycles, experiencing them in a deeply personal way. The alternative Kalachakra is the most spiritual aspect of the wheel. It concerns the inner journey of transformation and spiritual awakening. Here, time is not viewed as something external that we passively experience, but as something we actively engage with on our spiritual path. The alternative Kalachakra teaches that time, in its deepest sense, represents the process of awakening consciousness and evolving spiritually. This inner cycle is not about physical rebirth but about the transformation of the soul, the gradual process of awakening to higher states of awareness and enlightenment. One of the most famous teachings associated with the Kalachakra is the prophecy of Shambhala. According to this prophecy, when the world is at its darkest, in a time of great conflict and suffering, the hidden kingdom of Shambhala will emerge. From this mystical land will arise a spiritual king, a figure who will lead humanity into a new age of peace, wisdom, and enlightenment. Some interpret this prophecy as a literal event, while others see it as a symbolic message about the potential for inner awakening. The arrival of the king is the arrival of higher wisdom within each individual, which can guide us out of the darkness of ignorance and suffering. The teachings of the Kalachakra remind us that time is not our enemy. We are often taught to fear the passage of time, to resist its inevitable flow, but the Kalachakra teaches a different perspective. Time is not something we are merely subject to, it is a cycle that we can learn to navigate consciously. By understanding the eternal cycles, we can free ourselves from the fear of their passing and embrace the inherent rhythm of existence. Another key element in the Kalachakra teachings is that everything is interconnected. The same cycles that govern the external universe also govern our internal experiences. Just as the universe goes through cycles of creation, preservation, and destruction, so do we. These cycles offer us a chance for growth and transformation. The understanding of the Kalachakra encourages us to live in harmony with the cycles of nature and the flow of time, embracing each stage of life as an opportunity for spiritual evolution. At the heart of Kalachakra is the idea that we are not simply observers of time, we are active participants in it. Each moment, each cycle, is an opportunity for spiritual awakening. By aligning our own internal rhythms with the universal cycles, we begin to understand our true nature and the purpose of our existence. Time itself becomes a tool for enlightenment, a means of growing and transforming. In embracing the teachings of the Kalachakra, we come to understand that time is not an external force that moves us forward, rather, we are time. Time flows through us, and we flow through time. When we fully align with the cycles of existence, we awaken to the truth that everything is impermanent, yet everything is connected, and everything is part of an ongoing dance that we are both a part of and an active participant in. The Kalachakra time wheel is ultimately a map of the universe, of time, consciousness, and existence itself. It invites us to reflect on the grand cycles that govern our lives and our world, encouraging us to embrace these cycles with awareness and wisdom. By doing so, we can transform ourselves and our understanding of reality, ultimately finding peace and enlightenment in the flow of time itself. Nostradamus' Lost Century. Michel de Nostradamus, better known as Nostradamus, remains one of history's most famous seers. His prophecies, written in the form of cryptic quatrains, seem to predict major global events, wars, natural disasters, the rise and fall of political regimes, and the very fate of humanity. But among the many fascinating aspects of his work, one mystery stands out: the lost century. This term refers to the 17th century, a period curiously absent from his prophecies. Some scholars believe this missing era holds a deeper, hidden meaning, and the absence of predictions for this century has sparked numerous theories. Nostradamus is best known for his vivid depictions of the future, but despite his extensive work, there is a distinct gap in his predictions when it comes to the 17th century. Many believe this omission is significant. Why did he not foresee the events of this era, and what implications does it have for the understanding of his other prophecies? Theories behind the lost century. One theory suggests that Nostradamus may have intentionally left the 17th century out of his prophecies. Some believe that he regarded it as a period of relative peace and stability, one not marked by the same world-shattering events that characterized other centuries. Nostradamus may have seen the 17th century as a time of little turmoil, believing that it did not warrant prophetic insight. This theory posits that the missing century was simply too uneventful to be worth predicting. On the other hand, there are those who speculate that Nostradamus' omission is a deliberate cryptic message. Perhaps, they suggest, the lost century contains a hidden warning or is symbolic of something that has yet to unfold. Could it represent a spiritual transition, one in which humanity would move toward an entirely new understanding of time, existence, and the universe? Some interpret the missing century as a gap in the timeline, one that will only make sense in the future when certain cosmic or spiritual events occur. Another theory revolves around the idea that Nostradamus, despite his renowned foresight, could have simply lacked the vision to predict the events of the 17th century. His prophecies were often vague and open to interpretation, and it's possible that he simply didn't foresee what would transpire during that time. This could suggest that prophecy is not always precise, that even a gifted seer like Nostradamus could not predict everything. What could the lost century mean? The lost century raises important questions about the nature of prophecy itself. Could it be that Nostradamus was aware of a larger cosmic cycle that transcended the events of the 17th century? Perhaps the absence of this century in his work points to a time of spiritual or intellectual transition, one that would require humanity to reach a certain point of awareness before it could be understood or revealed. This period could hold the key to a future realization, one that would only become clear in later centuries. Some interpretations suggest that the lost century is symbolic, a metaphorical blank space. It could be a representation of the unknown or the unseen, a reminder that not all aspects of existence can be understood in one lifetime. Prophecy, in this sense, might not be a direct prediction of specific events, but rather a general guideline pointing to larger shifts in human consciousness. Nostradamus could have left this space as a way to show that some things are simply not yet meant to be known. Nostradamus' vision beyond the lost century. Although the 17th century is absent from Nostradamus' prophecies, his other works still offer insight into the future. Many of his quatrains are vague, written in symbolic language that allows for multiple interpretations. Still, there are recurring themes of global upheaval, spiritual awakening, and the emergence of significant leaders. Some believe that the lost century is connected to these broader themes, a period where humanity would undergo a profound shift that would prepare it for the events of later centuries. For example, Nostradamus' writings include cryptic references to great kings and world-changing events, and many scholars suggest that these could be related to modern-day figures or global phenomena. The absence of a detailed description of the 17th century might imply that Nostradamus was anticipating a time of dormancy before the next major shifts in history occurred. The legacy of the lost century. The lost century continues to fascinate modern audiences. As we face global challenges today, from political instability to environmental crises, many wonder if the missing 17th century could represent an era of potential awakening. Nostradamus' prophecies might not be bound by time in the traditional sense. The absence of the 17th century could serve as a reminder that prophecies are not always linear, and that some answers are revealed only when humanity is ready to understand them. The mystery of the lost century invites us to reconsider the nature of prediction itself. It suggests that not all aspects of the future can be known in advance, and that prophecy might not always be about pinpointing specific events, but about revealing a greater pattern or cycle of change. Nostradamus' missing century is a key part of understanding his overall vision of the future, a vision that continues to evolve as we approach the present and future. Akashic dream collapse. The Akashic records are often described as a cosmic library containing the collective knowledge of the universe, past, present, and future. Originating from ancient spiritual traditions, particularly within Hinduism and Buddhism, the Akashic records are seen as a repository of all human experiences, thoughts, and emotions. They are believed to exist in an etheric plane, accessible to those who achieve a high level of spiritual awareness. However, the concept of the Akashic dream collapse introduces an unsettling possibility. What if this cosmic archive were to collapse? The collapse of the Akashic records would signify a loss of the universal wisdom and knowledge that connects all beings across time. If these records fell apart, humanity could lose access to the deeper understanding of our existence, unraveling the fabric of reality itself. The dream of the Akashic records. The Akashic records are a sacred part of many mystical traditions. They represent the storehouse of everything that has ever happened, every thought and emotion ever experienced. Access to these records is said to bring profound wisdom, offering insights into past lives, future possibilities, and the hidden truths of the universe. The Akashic dream is the collective dream of humanity, reflecting our shared hopes, desires, and spiritual evolution. The records are believed to be the blueprint of this collective journey, recording every step we take on our spiritual path. The collapse, loss of knowledge and time. If the Akashic records were to collapse, humanity would lose access to this cosmic knowledge. The collapse would result in a disconnection from the wisdom of the universe, a loss of our spiritual heritage. Without this deep connection, humanity would be adrift, with no guiding compass to understand its place in the universe. Another aspect of the collapse could be the distortion of time. The Akashic records are believed to operate outside of linear time, encompassing the past, present, and future. If these records were destroyed, time itself might unravel, causing confusion and chaos in the natural order of existence. The impact on dreamers: those who are attuned to the Akashic records, often called dreamers, seers, or mystics, would be profoundly affected by the collapse. These individuals can access the Akashic plane and perceive future events, personal journeys, and the underlying truths of existence. If the records collapsed, these dreamers would lose their connection to the source of their knowledge. The visions of the future would become clouded, leaving humanity without guidance from those who could help steer the course of civilization. A new beginning. Despite the fear surrounding the collapse, many spiritual teachings view such events as necessary transformations. The collapse could signify the end of an old era, making way for a new beginning. The destruction of the Akashic records could clear the path for humanity to create its own future, free from the constraints of past knowledge. This collapse could be seen as a spiritual cleansing, shedding outdated beliefs and patterns that no longer serve humanity's evolution. The collapse of the Akashic records could act as a cosmic reset, allowing human consciousness to evolve to higher states of awareness. This transition would not be a destruction but a rebirth, where humanity would have the opportunity to build a new spiritual foundation, grounded in new wisdom and understanding. Humanity's role in the collapse: humans are not mere victims of the Akashic dream collapse, rather, we play a crucial role in the outcome. As consciousness awakens, we may be tasked with rebuilding the Akashic records or creating something entirely new. The collapse could be seen as a challenge, urging humanity to take responsibility for its collective future and evolve beyond the limitations of the past.